Yo, y'all already know what it is. We got a tech testimony. This one is really special, incredibly special, because not only is the guest that we have coming on, not only is she someone who did a tech boot camp, but she also is going to be talking about how she leveraged her transferable skills aside from the boot camp. But the thing that's really, really special is that for those of you that are planning on attending TechPreneurCon, Tech is a New Black's tech conference that's coming up April 27th and 28th. Some of the hiring partners that we have there, some of the tech companies that are going to be there that are actually hiring for the same role that she does in tech, as well as other roles that the same tech bootcamp she did is hiring for. So this is really major. So for those of you, I'm gonna go down a list. Y'all gonna see me looking over here a few times because I got a lot of notes and I want to make sure I have all of the sauce for y'all. So for everyone who, my bad, go ahead and hit this. So for everyone who has done either an SDR boot camp, or you've done account executive, or you've done any type of sales engineering, software development, things like that. Let me go ahead and pin this for y'all. Boom. This, some of the hiring partners we're going to have at TechPreneurCon, they are mass hiring for these various types of roles. So definitely make sure, I'm going to go ahead and bring her on here right now while I'm still talking about this. So definitely make sure those of y'all that are coming to TechPreneurCon, that you are aware of that. If you've not done a tech sales bootcamp yet, we're going to be announcing very soon all the different roles that our hiring partners are hiring for that are going to be at TechPreneurCon. So you're going to want to make sure that you stay on the lookout for that, so that way you don't miss that. But for those of you that have not gotten your tickets yet for TechPreneurCon, tonight is the last night to get early bird tickets. The price is actually going up for access to TechPreneurCon. So make sure you comment tech event if you have not gotten your access tickets yet to TechPreneurCon. Those that are on LinkedIn and YouTube, make sure y'all are paying very close attention. You don't have to comment tech event. Just look at the description underneath the video and you can actually see the link to TechPreneurCon. So that way you can go ahead and register to access TechPreneurCon. So again, on Instagram, comment tech event. For YouTube and LinkedIn, just look at the description underneath the video. So that way you can go ahead and just click on the link to register. Again, I'm saying one more time, the hiring partners we have at TechPreneurCon, they are mass hiring for a variety of different roles. Some of them include roles like what she does. We're going to talk to Ariel in a second for her to tell her story and talk about, of course, the boot camp that she did. But they also are hiring for a variety of other roles: sales engineering, software engineering, project management, product, like the list goes on and on and on. We're going to drop the information very soon. Now, when you comment tech event, and for those of y'all on YouTube and LinkedIn, when y'all click the link and y'all actually go to register, you're going to notice that first is going to request, and it's all automations, by the way. I want to be very clear. It's automations. I want to be very clear about that. It's going to first be requesting information like your email, your phone number, stuff like that. Tech is a New Black. We don't solicit no random stuff. We're not going to be soliciting anything to you. It's important that we gather your data first, because the tech companies that want to come to our conference, that want to sponsor the conference, we have to at least be able to show them, not anyone's information, but show them a guesstimation of how many people are going to end up being at the conference, because that helps us with sponsorships and it helps us with getting more tech companies to come to the conference to hire y'all. So it's one of those things where, again, we have it set up to where before you even go to the site, we definitely have to connect with your information and stuff first. So that way we can have that. But also, so that way, if you end up forgetting to get your ticket or something comes up, or if you just want some free information, if you just want a list of the companies that are hiring, we'll be able to send all of that to you. The goal is to be able to not rely on the social media algorithm. The goal is to be able to tell y'all right away, hey, these are companies that are hiring. They're hiring for this role, all of that stuff, giving y'all the sauce so more of us can break into tech, scale in tech, and really get to this money. So last time I'm going to say it. Again, if you haven't done a tech sales bootcamp, comment SDR, talk about Ariel's story. It's going to break it down. If you have, definitely make sure you comment tech event. But guess what? The cool thing is that I almost forgot to mention this. Even if you haven't done a tech sales bootcamp yet, the bootcamp she did, you can finish it before TechPreneurCon. So you can show up at TechPreneurCon and you can literally go up to the recruiters or hiring managers that are there and that are hiring for tech sales, for software engineering, and for any of the other roles that you're interested in. And you can tell them, hey, I just finished the boot camp, or I'm in the midst of finishing the boot camp. And you can still be able to get started in the interviewing process. So this stream is probably one of the most important streams, because her testimony, telling you about her story, the boot camp, the program, as well as her leveraging transferable skills, but also at TechpreneurCon, we're going to have a major hiring opportunity that's going to be there. And so again, the purpose of TechpreneurCon is not the purpose of TechpreneurCon is not about people getting jobs in tech. That's something that we have, though. We have a lot of career opportunities that will be there. Since we saw that big a complaint with other tech events, we wanted to make sure we had that. But the purpose of TechpreneurCon is actually focusing on people that are in tech, that are looking to become tech investors, tech founders, as well as being able to collaborate with other tech influencers, with other tech executives, to be able to start your own tech businesses or be able to leverage your own tech brand to be able to scale further. We have to think bigger than just six figures. I say this all the time. We talk about six figures. Other communities in the tech industry, six figures to them is not even anything to talk about, because that's normal in the tech industry. They don't even really think much about seven figures. They're thinking 8 figures, 9 figures, numbers we in our community don't even fathom and talk about. And so TechpreneurCon is meant to launch us to that next level, that next space. I can give a free game on social media to show y'all how to get to 6 figures, but it takes more than that for us to get to 7 figures and 8 figures. And that's what TechpreneurCon is about. It's about helping all of us level up and get significantly further. So anyway, said a whole lot, but we're excited about TechpreneurCon. Again, y'all, tonight is the last night for the early bird access. So make sure you hop on that. No Diddy, by the way, but make sure y'all hop on that. So anyway, that being said, Ariel, so excited to have you on here. Thank you so much for coming on and being willing to share your testimony. If you could, I don't know how you have your phone propped up. Is there any way you can adjust your phone or even your computer laptop to maybe show you a little bit more? Because right now it's like 10.
Okay, wait, let me see if I can push it back. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, you sound great. You sound phenomenal.
Okay. Did that help at all?
Yeah, that's good. That's wonderful.
Okay. Did that help?
Yeah, it helped a bit. Yeah. As long as we get
Okay.
All right, thank you. We appreciate that. All right, cool. So let's jump into it. So Ariel, so you tell everybody just on a real quick high level, what course or what role or type of, what kind of course did you do for tech, or I guess basically for tech? And when did you finish the boot camp? And when did you actually start at your first tech company?
Okay. So hi everyone, I'm Ariel. So the boot camp I did is Course Careers, and I just did the sales development role, the SDR role. And then I finished, I want to say maybe like September of last year. And I got my job offers, I got them in March.
So y'all notice she said job offers, plural, not one, not multiple. So how many job offers did you get? Or how many job offers did you get in total?
3.
Yo, that is so incredible. And the reason why I thought that was really dope to share is because, and I'm sure you know this very well, Ariel, that there are a lot of people that are landing jobs in tech, and then there's other people that aren't getting jobs. And many times a lot of doubt can shroud people's minds, where they think like, oh, no one's hiring, or, no one is going to hire a woman or a person of color, anything like that. And so I thought it was incredible to hear that you, as a woman of color, didn't just in a relatively short amount of time, not even relatively, a short amount of time, be able to get job offers, but you got 3. So that's incredible. So look, let's dive into it. Again, everybody here, make sure y'all have y'all's questions ready. So you can ask Ariel about her story, ask different questions about, even if it's not about SDR or tech sales, make sure that y'all have your questions ready. As always, we have discounts to any other boot camps. Y'all always know whenever there's a boot camp or program I'm talking about, 9 times out of 10, I'm going to hit y'all with a discount. And also, Tech is a New Black gets a kickback. We get an affiliate referral kickback from any of the boot camps. Always try to be 100% transparent about that. If you don't want Tech is a New Black to get a kickback, because I don't know, you don't like me or something, totally cool. Still do the boot camp. You don't have to use the discount code. You don't have to get a discount. Still do the boot camp. All of that, because it's this is really still here to help y'all overall. So that being said, and yeah, for those of y'all on YouTube and LinkedIn, just look at the detailed descriptions of the conversation. You'll see the discount link. Those on Instagram, just comment SDR, Sierra Delta Romeo, and you'll get the discount link sent to you in your DMs. But look, let's get into this because I'm excited about this because we actually kind of go back in terms of like social media and DMs and stuff, because I actually had forgotten about that until I had like gone back at the DMs a few times, and then I was going through and I was scrolling through and I was like, yo, what was it, like 2018, 2019 or something? That is crazy. I love stuff like that. So my question is, what were you doing before getting in tech, before you even thinking about getting in tech? And what was it that kind of brought up the idea to make you think, yo, I should probably consider getting a career in tech or in tech sales?
Okay, so I was in the insurance industry. I was just an adjuster, a senior adjuster at the time. I have been doing that for quite some time, just building up my career. And then what made me want to get into tech? I would say definitely seeing like your testimony, because I have been following you for so long, like you just said. So you were already like a trusted person, like you never, would do any like scams or, anything sketchy. So I was like, okay, and then also my sister, she's in tech. And so I would like right at the same time, I think both of you guys got into tech. So I was just kind of like, okay. And she got an opportunity at a really big company at Lyft. So I was just like trying to listen and figure out what was going on. And it just all happened at the same time. So when I saw, what you were talking about, I was like, okay, I gotta see what's up,
Yeah. What does your sister do? I know she's at Lyft, but what does she do?
So she's just like a senior executive assistant to like, C-suite executives. So she was doing that in like the pharmaceutical world, and then she got a job at Lyft, and now she's at Cruise and she's doing the same thing. So
yeah. That is cold. I love it. Del Monte Green Beans. First off, that's a really funny YouTube name. But Del Monte Green, I see your comment. You said, I'm trying to get out of trucking. This will be a battle for me, it seems. Actually, it wouldn't. I have done tech. So I call this a tech testimony. I've done tech testimony streams with people that were in trucking. So you can go through my YouTube, my YouTube lives and just look at the titles. You'll see that one is titled From Trucking to Tech or Trucking to Tech Sales, one or the other. So I would encourage you to watch that so you can hear that person's story about how he went from trucking to being in tech. So yeah, so it's not impossible. Don't think that at all. So now definitely I will say this, and this is for everyone here. The process is simple, but it definitely takes work. So it's not easy, but it's simple. So it definitely takes a lot of work, a lot of grind, a lot of patience, a lot of tenacity. There are some people that break into tech before they even finish doing the boot camp. There are some people where it's taking them 6 months, 7 months, 8 months. And so, but at the end of the day, it definitely takes work. So yeah, and again, there's a lot of free game, all that stuff on Tech is New Black on the YouTube channel, all the free resources that we have out there to help y'all out. Anyway, let me get away from the comments because we need to continue talking about your story. We're gonna come back to the comments later. Y'all make sure that y'all have y'all's questions ready, loaded up, so that way we can jump into the questions. So continuing on, and I love that so much that, and I'm honestly grateful to God because going back to what you said about how, one, your sister had recently gotten tech, but two, you saw me talking about it and you were like, yeah, Cyrus has never talked about no weird stuff on social media, never pushed no scams. I say this, I'm so grateful to God that I did it, because there were times, never a scam. I never thought about pushing a scam, but there were things like the whole, the MLM marketing, the Forex stuff, where so many
Mhm.
people approached me. Because a lot of people they just started following me, they think that I became a little social media popular once I got in tech, but they don't know, like, I was
Oh.
already a little popular before, and
Yeah.
I was broke and popular. And so people came to me and were telling me, Cyrus, if you promote MLM, they were like, Cyrus, you will make so much money. You will be so successful. And I wanted to so bad, because I was living in the hood. My life was not going well. But just in
Yeah.
my heart, I was like, man, I just cannot. And it wasn't even that I thought it was a scam. It was just
Mhm.
that I knew that I wouldn't do it to help people, because I didn't fully understand it. I just knew that I would have
Mhm.
only started to do it just because, I could have got other people to sign up and I would have got money for it. And I decided to not do it.
Mhm.
I stayed completely broke. And I'm grateful to God that I didn't do it, because once I actually got in the tech industry, and then I was like, yo, I want to tell people about this. I want to tell people about the industry. I'm happy. I'm grateful that people who, like yourself and others who knew me, were able to be like, yo, I trust this, because Cyrus ain't never been on no funny stuff before. And I'm happy to see,
Mhm.
that they ended up paying off ultimately for a lot of people. All right, so cool. So you started the boot camp. I know you said you finished it in September. When did you start it exactly?
Mhm. In July.
Okay, cool. So you started July, August, September. All right. So it took you, like, how many weeks would you say it took you to finish it?
Um, I would say maybe like a month and a half, like when I really
Yeah.
put it together. Like you know how you know how you may start and then then you may drift and then you come back to it. So, because of my role at the time, it was very demanding just being a senior adjuster. So I didn't have, a whole bunch of free time. So it really took, like you said earlier, a lot of discipline and perseverance for me to do that. So yeah, I would say about a month and a half to like lock
Okay.
in, get it done.
So can you break down to people? Because I know some people that are here, they're like, okay, what do you mean it took you a month and a half? Can you explain to people the way that that tech sales course works? And then even kind of
Mhm,
break down some of the things that you learned in it that you think people that might even have a sales background would still benefit from, because you already had a sales background. What were some of the
mhm,
things? So two questions to make it simple. One, can you talk a little bit about the course, why you say it took you 6 weeks? But then two, talk about some of the things that you learned in it that you feel were beneficial for you to teach you some things about tech sales that might have been different than just traditional sales.
mhm. So it's self-paced. So once you buy it, you get the whole thing, but you can do it at your own pace. So if you want to knock it out, in a week, you can do that. If you can't, you can come back to it and just, go at your own pace. So that's why it took me 6 weeks. And then I would say what I learned that you don't learn in traditional sales, I think is like human behavior. So some of the books that they recommended about the science behind sales and the science behind, human behavior, I think that can transform, your mindset and how you approach things in every area of sales. And I think
Yeah.
that's something a lot of people are missing. Um, is it's much deeper than just a quick little transaction. There's a lot of different things that are going on that are subconscious or consciously going on. And I think that would be just beneficial for anybody in sales or in any type of people role. You need to understand human behavior and how to get along with people and how to be genuine with people, as well. So I won't go too deep, but I think, yeah, that's what was missing.
Yeah, no, that's fire. That's really good. Now, want to know, before we start to get ready to transition over to everyone else's questions. So you finished the boot camp in September.
Mhm, mhm.
You said you got your first offer, and you started at your first company, or got your first offer, not first offer, you got your 3 offers in March and started at your first company. You started your first company in March, right?
No, I actually start in 3 weeks. Yeah.
Oh wow. Oh, that's
Mhm.
fire. Yo, y'all give it up for her in the comments. that she literally is about to start her company in 3 weeks. That's major,
And I
major.
get to fly
So,
there, so I'm really excited.
what do you mean by you get to fly there?
I work remote, but they want me to come to
Yeah,
their corporate office for a week just to, show
yeah,
me around and, introduce me to some of like the VPs and different
yeah.
things just to host me for a week. So I'm really excited. I'm like looking forward to that. I'm super excited.
Yo, that's fire. That's super fire. Love that. I love that.
Yeah.
All right,
Love getting
Abram.
flued out.
Yeah, exactly. Get flued out by a tech company.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny. All right, so you finished the boot camp in September. You got your
Uh-huh.
your your 3 offers, and you chose one of the 3. You got the 3
Mhm.
offers in March. Between September and March, that's not a long amount of time, but I mean that's 7 months, 6 to 7 months. So my
Mhm.
question is, during that 6 to 7 months, was there any point in time where you started to doubt or lose hope, or like what was your headspace like during that 7 months of you applying and interviewing?
That's a really good question. I feel like it was a little all over the place. And I would say because I'm the type of person where I have interest in a lot of different things. I've always been like that. Um, and so as I was like going through this process of interviewing and looking up all these different roles, I was just like a little conflicted on like which route I wanted to go because it's like I would find out one thing about one position and then I would find out more about a different one. I'm like, ooh, I would like to do, that and that.
Yeah,
So I was just a little like, I had a little bit of like internal conflict going on. And then just my main everyday job, it was demanding. So I feel like I was having that mental battle of like, what do I want to do? And part of me was like, I really want to get into tech really bad. But then another part of me was like, I really want my next move to be my best move. So I don't want to,
yeah,
rush. I really want to do some more, research. So then I would say between like December and March, I felt more clear, and that's when I really like honed in and started to apply to what I wanted to apply to. Like I feel like I was being a little like humble at first of like, oh well, I can make it work with this, or I'll try this role. And then I would have these
yeah,
conversations with God and he would just be like, be honest. Like be honest
yeah,
about, what you want to do, what you want to make, be specific. And so I just wrote it out, very, very specific. This is what I want. And I did heavy research on companies and I had like a whole list of companies that I was like, okay, I need certain boxes checked off already. And then I just started to really like go hard towards the end of December into March. So I wasn't surprised when the offers came. It made sense. I had to get it together up here.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's what it is sometimes. It's really interesting. That's what it is sometimes. And so no, I love that so much. A quick comment I'm gonna acknowledge is from a Trey Days. He said, is she comfortable saying what company she works for? So I'm not going to ask her what company she works for. I will say, if you look at the thumbnail of the video, you'll see that I have her full name there. So you can, y'all can follow her on LinkedIn, all that good stuff, and you'll see. I actually don't think you don't have the company list. Oh yeah, because you start in 3 weeks, right?
And I
Yeah,
had
so
like
you
a
start
big
in 3 weeks.
bidding going on, so I didn't want to put anything on
Yeah,
there prematurely.
yeah, yeah. That's good. And you know what? Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that in a minute. Like why you chose the company you chose, because you got 3 offers. Okay, why did you choose that company?
Mhm.
One thing I will say, Trey Days. So one, she starts in 3 weeks. And two, we don't want to publicly, I don't want to publicly say what company she works for, primarily because a lot of people, let's be real, I love a lot of y'all, but some of the people that pop into these streams, they will hear what company she works for or what company she's about to start at in 3 weeks, and they will go and apply and use her as a reference or say, oh, yeah, I know her. It happens often when I do these streams. So I'm really big on not just publicly saying. Now, of course, someone could still look her up on LinkedIn, follow her. They could still do that, but I just don't want to make it as easy for someone to do something like that by just saying the company's name. So I would say y'all follow her on LinkedIn. Look at the thumbnail title, and follow her on LinkedIn. And later on, when she posts the company, stuff like that, don't flood her inbox trying to ask her to put y'all on at her company, because she literally is going to be in orientation, all that stuff. Nevertheless, follow her, keep up with what she's doing, all of that good stuff. And maybe she can at least refer y'all to the other 2 companies that she turned down instead. Because I mean, again, it's a lot of companies out here hiring. Other reason why it's unnecessary to say the company is because there are tens of thousands of tech companies hiring. So just because she got on her company doesn't mean, oh, well, if they hired her, then they'll hire me. Well, maybe you're supposed to be at this other company over here, and it might work out better for you at another company over there. So don't get so caught up on it. Again, y'all, and I'll say this as a completely unshameless plug. TechPreneur is coming up April 27, 28. And we have 2, potentially 3 tech companies that are mass hiring that will be there. They're hiring, they are mass hiring. They're paying big money on average, low 6 figures up to $300,000 for all the different roles that they're hiring for. We're talking cybersecurity, we're talking tech sales. It's a lot of different roles. So for those that do attend TechPreneur and even after TechPreneur we'll make an announcement. But for those that do attend TechPreneur you will be able to, talk to those companies that are hiring there. And so again, for those that are interested, again, tonight is the last night for early bird access. So make sure on Instagram you comment tech event to get the link and the information. On YouTube and LinkedIn, look at the description, the show notes, whatever you people call it, the details, and you'll see the link there for you to be able to register. I have to say this again because I know it's people popping into the live or popping into the stream that are new to popping in. Before you even get to the registration page, it is going to request things like, hey, what's your phone number? What's your email? Stuff like that. Before you even get to the web page to get access. The reason for that is a few different reasons. One, most people on average, and this happened at our last tech event, is sold out. And there were a lot of people that went to sign up, forgot to finish like actually signing up and registering, and then the tickets sold out. So one, us being able to get your contact, it allows us, we have all the automations and stuff set up. So if you forget to get your ticket, the automations a couple of days later remind you, hey, the event's coming up in a week. Hey, the event's coming up in 3 days, all that good stuff. But the main reason why is because the reason why we're able to get tech companies to sponsor and to be hiring is because we're able to show them how many people are expected to come to the event. And the only way we can determine that is 2 ways. One, by the tickets that have already been acquired. And 2, our contact list of people that have shown interest. So it's one of those things where Technically Black, we don't solicit or do anything goofy, but us having that information allows us to present that to tech companies. So that way they're like, whoa, you have a large contact list of people that are interested in jobs in tech. Cool. We will either sponsor you or we will give internal company referrals to your community. So it's one of those things where it helps you, it helps us, it helps the tech company, it allows everyone to win overall. So I at least wanted to give a backdrop to that, because some people were wondering, they were like, yo, why instead of it just giving me the link to go to look at the event, is it asking for my email and my name and stuff first? Is so we can have that data so we can present it to the tech companies so they can in turn give more benefit, more value for the rest of us. So y'all are crazy in the comments. I'm about to go ahead and block somebody because y'all talking cray. People be talking funny on the internet. Anyway, so let's get back to it. Yeah, for those that are asking which course she did, yeah, she did the Course Careers Bootcamp. Same thing, discount link in the description, whatever, all that good. So y'all know how it is at this point. If you don't know how it is, then just look at the details and information. You'll see all the stuff there. So anyway, let's get back to this. So super excited about this because let's go into that last piece you touched on. So once you got your mind right, you're like, okay, cool. Now stuff is starting to shift in your favor. You didn't just get one job offer. So you went from not getting offers, the offers that you really wanted, to getting 3 job offers. So what would you say that you ended up doing that you went from no offers that you wanted to 3 quality job offers in the month of March? And also tell us, why did you choose the company you chose or the offer that you got over the other 2?
So I would say I think mainly just like being honest with yourself about like what you want and what you want like long term, not just, next year, but what you want, long term, and just being honest about your skills and what you like to do. And I feel like once I felt very clear about that, I was like, it's a wrap. Like it wasn't about like getting a job, I was already in a senior position, so I knew I could do that. But
Yeah.
I wanted to be very, very clear and not just do like a SDR role because that's what the boot camp was for. Like I
Yeah.
wanted to get very honest and be strategic about my approach. And I feel like that's when things shifted for me.
Yeah.
And then did you have another question?
No,
Were you about
I was just thinking, 'cause I remember now one thing, and I wanted to highlight this. I
Mhm,
remember now, you were already making six figures before
mhm,
you wanted to pursue a career in tech sales. So after
yeah,
you touch on why you chose the offer that you chose, can you
mhm,
also tell everyone why a woman who was already making six figures was like, yo, I want to go ahead and check out the tech industry? Even though I'm already making six
mhm.
figures, I'm already doing my thing. If you could also touch on, after you mentioned why you chose the offer you chose, what made you want to transition over when technically you didn't have a money need?
Mhm. So the reason why I chose the company that I went with is because I was just looking long term. Like they're a global tech company, so very well known company, and I could just see myself, being there or gaining some knowledge or some certifications. So I just did very thorough research, and when I went through the interview process, which can be a little lengthy sometimes, as I got to know people and as I'm going through all of these rounds, I felt like their culture aligns with who I am, but also long term, I could see myself having, a lot of different options, and I'm sure we'll probably touch on that a little later. But just with the job that I have, I could just see the long term, and I was just we were on board culturally as well. So I think, when you go in those type of interviews, you got to be confident and make sure you're interviewing the company too. They're not just interviewing you. And I was doing that, and I felt like they just blew me out the water with everything. Even the way they handled the offers, like they were on it. They was just like, whatever you need, we want to make sure we beat everybody. We want you. So yeah.
Yo, that's that energy. That's that type of
Yeah.
energy these companies that have. That's fire. That's
Yeah.
incredible. Incredible, incredible. Now look,
And then you said the other question
yeah,
about why I wanted to segue into tech anyways when I was already making what I was making.
yeah,
Um, so I was just in the insurance industry, and I don't know if anybody's familiar with insurance, but it's not easy work. It's very challenging, very, very challenging, and very exhausting. So when I was just, looking at your testimony, talking to my sister, I was just like, I have to do a lot to, make this. There's not really much of a work-life balance.
mhm,
As you go up, the work gets more complex, like the hardest work you'd ever do, like mentally. So I weighed the pros and the cons, and I was just like, I need a better lifestyle. And I also saw that people in tech, just entry level, were making what I was making in a senior role. So I said, wait a minute, like something is not right. I'm in a senior role there. This is an entry role, right? The math is not mathing. And if I give tech the same amount of time I've given insurance, oh my goodness, I would be so much closer to my goals. So
yeah,
it was just logically, it was just about, working smarter and not harder, so you can, do bigger things for people who have big goals, like, wanting assets, just what you were talking about, the conference that you're putting on is it just, when you have those type of goals and the math makes sense, you got to be able to take those type of risks. So tech it
yeah.
just made sense for me. Yeah.
That's incredible. Incredible. Yeah, someone said, Leon says that's a brave move to move from one industry to another. Yeah, that's huge, really huge. Definitely hats off to you for you. Yeah, you making that move because you could have very easily just been like, you know what? Yeah, I have to work hard. Yeah, I have to work a bunch of hours, things like that. But you know what? I know this industry. I'm locked in, and so that's really dope that
Mhm.
you took that leap of faith. And I mean, so far it's something that is working out, and obviously we believe that it's going to continue to work out and continue to allow you to thrive. So I love that so much. We definitely might need to do a follow up with you in a few months just to hear. Okay, cool. Now you are at your company. Okay, what is it like? Things like that. But now already so far, I love it so much. Before we jump in to answer everyone's questions, anything else that you wanted to say that either I cut you off or you didn't get to share? I want to make sure that we have time for that before we jump into these other questions.
Yeah, I would say 2 things. First, whatever industry that you're already in, it's already technical. So it's like with real estate. Everybody's in real estate. Everybody's just on different sides. You're either the owner or you're the renter. So it's the same thing with your industry. If you're a teacher, if you're in trucking, if you work in insurance, it's already a technical side to that. There's already companies that are providing your industry with technology. So it's already going there. You just have to figure out what side do you want to be on? Do you want to be the owner or do you want to be, the consumer? So I would say that. So there's room for everybody. Doesn't matter what industry you're in. And then also, I would say just, be confident in yourself and your ability. I think if you're confident and you're courageous and you have a willingness to apply yourself, you anybody will hire you. Like in these
Yeah.
interviews, everybody is not interviewing at a high level. I know it's
Mhm.
very easy to get caught up in that of like, oh my God, there's no jobs, everybody's taking. That's not the case. Even when I've spoken to recruiters, you'd be surprised whether they're getting hundreds of applications. Everybody's not going to show up the way you show up when that camera comes
Yeah.
on. So
Yes.
just be confident in yourself and, always lean on the ladder. Like, yes, there's a lot of jobs, but there's also a lot of people getting hired.
Mhm.
It's just like Drake says, trust me at the top, it isn't lonely. It's not lonely, y'all. You know, people are living a completely different life. So I
Yeah.
would just say stay confident, stay courageous, and believe in yourself. And you got it. Like that's
Yo,
more than half the battle.
that's fire. Yo, you dropped some heat. Yo, she dropped some heat right there. That was crazy. Yo, love it, love it. So look, let's get into some of these questions. So we're gonna address the questions that were pre-submitted. So these are gonna be
Okay.
a combinations of questions. Some of the questions are whatever. I'm just jump to the questions. So mm, all right, so we're only going to acknowledge questions that are relative to the stream, questions that are relative to her story and or relative to TechpreneurCon. So and that's not to be disrespectful. That's just for the sake of time and to keep everybody on track with the point of this stream. So someone asked, is TechpreneurCon an every year event? I'm 20 years old, just starting to learn more about tech. Yes, it will be an every year event, Lord willing. So this will be the first TechpreneurCon. And yeah, Lord willing, we will be doing more. And we're going to be doing them in different locations. So just giving y'all a heads up. We're in talks with some people that are in Cabo to that way we can have an event in Cabo. And so we're gonna be doing some pretty cool stuff. Like Tech is New Black, we're really working on not just curating opportunities for people's careers and businesses, but also we're working on curating some very unique experiences as well. So y'all definitely keep us in your prayers, all that good stuff. We have a lot of work to do. So yeah, definitely just kind of be on the lookout for that. All right. So there will be recruiters and software engineer positions, right? So if you're speaking about, because this question is very limited, if you're speaking about TechpreneurCon, there will be software engineering hiring that's going on. I don't want to say hiring, but software engineering roles that are being presented from some of the hiring partners that are going to be at TechpreneurCon. Not recruiting, not to my knowledge. So not recruiting. All right, so all right, I'm going to skip right now TechpreneurCon questions, and we're going to go to questions that I feel are uh, relative to the topic about her testimony. Mm-mm-mm. Okay. Man, I'm actually surprised. There's a lot of questions about TechPreneur. I'm actually very surprised. Um, okay, cool. So now this is a question I'm definitely going to allow you to address this. Uh, as well as you could think, and as well as what you know. I'm sure you know enough, even though you just are now getting into the industry. But you've seen a bunch of streams. I'm sure you watched testimonies and you did research. So anyway, asking this question, someone asked, "Do tech companies care if a male employee has dreads?"
I would say no. No. And like that's not something you should really be focusing on. Like it's really not important. When you look at the tech industry, culturally, it's a very open, non-conservative industry. So that's not even something you should be focused on. It's very, very minor.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that 100%. 100%. Now, I do want to be clear, and this is something I haven't done a good job of talking about. So one, we don't know what job in tech you're talking about, because if you could be talking about SDR, like what she does, you could be talking about software engineering, you could be talking about project management. So one, it does depend on, it mainly depends on what industry. So if you really are talking about a actual tech company or SaaS company, software as a service, then yeah, no, that's totally cool. But you could do any of those jobs that I listed at a non-tech company. Let's say, like, I use like Chase, for example, JP Morgan Chase. They have a lot of technology, but they are really more of a banking company that moves that puts up that they're a tech company, but they're a banking company, they're a bank, they're a financial company. That being said, their culture is not in line with tech company culture. Their culture is still in line with more traditional financial industry, banking industry. So in that case, and again, I'm just using them as an example. I'm not saying that they would have a problem with you having dreads, but you do have to be mindful about some of the companies that are out there that are not actually tech companies, where they might have more tradition and outdated views of things. Again, it's 2024, so no company should even be moving like they have a problem with dreads. Nevertheless, you have a much lower likelihood of your dreads being seen as anything that will affect your employability when you're talking about actual tech companies. Let's see what other questions. This is actually really crazy. I actually see. So let's do this. I'm going to address one or two more questions that are here in the thread about TechPreneur. I want to be mindful of everyone's time here, because some people here probably don't care about TechPreneur, which is cool. I want to be mindful of her time. So I'll address a couple of these, but I'm just going to do a dedicated video that answers all of these questions. So definitely y'all stay on the lookout for that. In the meantime, we're going to get to some of the questions in the comments that I feel are more relatable to her. And again, my bad, because I did put in a story to ask questions about her testimony, or questions about TechPreneur. But I do want to be mindful of her time and other people's time as well. So I'll get to a couple of these. So booked my flight 30 minutes ago, ready to know. Oh yeah, that's dope. Yo,
I'm so jealous I can't come.
What city are you based in?
I'm in Virginia, like Virginia Beach area.
VA. I literally was just I go to the DMV very often. So I was just at a tech event in December. It was in DC, which is just DMV, but it is in Virginia though. But yeah, no, I mean, hopefully, by the Cabo event, you could pull up to that. That'll be lit.
I would love to.
Yeah,
so but you have to let me know when you're in DC too.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. I have a folder of different cities in the US. I actually have a folder of different countries and cities. Whenever I know someone that lives in that city, I save them in a folder with that city. So whenever I go to the city, I could go to UK right now. I could go to Turkey. I could go to random countries, Bali, Costa Rica. I know people in all of those countries and regions that if I go there, I know multiple people I can hit up and be like, yo, I'm in a city, let's get together. And so I'll add you to the one that's for Virginia. So that's a little hack for y'all, something to do when you meet people. Just go ahead, add them to a folder in whatever city or country that they're in. So that way, whenever you end up popping up there, you can hit them up, ask them some advice, make sure you're good. So anyway, so how do you think it would be helpful for a person to attend the event if they're just starting the course? Yeah, definitely. Because for a couple reasons. One, if you're doing course careers, the boot camp she did, the boot camp, we're kind of talking about, if you do that, it's self-paced. So no matter what course you do, whether it's their software engineering course, their data analytics course, their tech sales course, I could keep going, whichever one you do, you could be finished with it before TechpreneurCon even happens. But even if you're not finished, you can talk to the recruiters or hiring managers that are there. And I say this all the time for any tech events. So this isn't just about TechpreneurCon, it's any tech events. This is a play that you do when you go to tech events when they have companies that are hiring. Unfortunately, most tech events right now don't have companies there that are hiring. But since that is what people know our brand as, we wanted to make sure we had companies there that are hiring at TechpreneurCon. Anyway, a hack that you do is, even if you are still in the midst of doing a boot camp or a course, you can tell the tech recruiter, hiring manager, whoever, you can say, hey, I literally am finishing up the course, the training right now. By the time you start interviewing, first off, they'll be cool with that. They'll actually like that. By the time you start interviewing with them, you would have been finished with the course. Like, you can be in the midst of a course and be interviewing at a company. And so that's not a crazy far-fetched thing. You don't have to be finished with the course, because they know by the time you finish with your rounds of interviews, you would have been finished with the course anyway. What you want to do while interviewing, you want to mention to them some of the things you're currently learning in the course that are relatable to the role. So they realize, okay, you actually are really learning the valuable things right now. So no, that's totally cool. I'll do one more. Yeah, so someone asked, so the general access, it only gives you access to the first day. Now you will have opportunity. We will put up, we will offer a second day separately. But yeah, currently right now, general access just gives you access to the first day. And last thing, let me mention this, the difference between day one and day two, aside from, y'all can look at the breakdown, but one thing I want to highlight about what we're doing at TechpreneurCon, we're doing a pitch off between two startup founders. Think Shark Tank, but with a live audience. So we're doing a pitch off between two startup founders. The people who actually get the VIP tickets, a portion of your ticket actually goes towards you being a micro investor into whichever startup the audience votes is the winner. So that way, again, it won't be much. It'll just be $50 of the ticket. And again, it's for VIP. It'll be small enough, but the goal is that we would be crowdfunding these startups that we believe in. And we have judges like sharks that are they're investment advisors, where they're gonna pick apart the business, ask questions, so everyone makes a proper voting decision. But the other cool part is that the winner gets a part of what they win, aside from the crowdfunding, is that they end up getting an accelerator. Anyone who doesn't know what a business accelerator is, it's essentially a very thorough program that refines someone's business and their business acumen, so their business really has a higher probability of going to the next level and taking off. And of course, this is going to be shot and recorded. It's going to be recorded almost game show style. So this isn't just something that's going to take place at TechpreneurCon. All of you that are there, whether you're VIP or you're general, you'll be able to ask questions about the person's business during the live pitch off. You'll be able to critique it, all of that. And all of this will end up as an episode on Tech is the New Black. It's going to be a new segment we're creating, because our goal is to help all of us start to become micro investors into tech startups that we believe in. And the goal is that these episodes will air. We're hoping, we're going to do everything we can to let these episodes go viral, so that way these small startup businesses that we've invested in take off and become big, and it ends up yielding everybody money that were investors. So this is part of what we're doing. We're doing some really cool stuff, y'all. We're doing some fire stuff, but I'll do a dedicated breakdown. We'll provide a video that'll give people a further breakdown anyway. So let's get to, I know there are more questions y'all have about TechpreneurCon. We're going to focus just on her story, and then we will get to, we'll just end it there. I'll do something else to tell you about TechpreneurCon. All right. So All right. So some of these questions. So those y'all asking what boot camp she did and things like that, you can just look at the details. That information is there. And if I don't acknowledge your question, it's because she already answered it earlier. You just came in late, which is cool, but you can watch it later. So how many rounds of interviews did you end up having to do?
For one company, I had to do 7. For another company, I had to do 4. And then the other company, I think it was 4 too. Yeah.
Wow. So the company that you ended up choosing, how many rounds of interviews did you have to do with them?
4.
Okay, cool. Okay, cool. All right, good stuff, good stuff. Purple Grove Production says, I'm in tech and I have locks. They're like question answer.
Yeah.
Someone said industry culture can affect culture, but techies get away with a lot. Yeah, that's true. That's very true. So Nina's house asked, can she speak more to the interview process? Was she asked any tough questions that maybe she wasn't totally prepared for?
That's a good question. I don't really feel like I had any tough questions that I wasn't prepared for. I think the thing that I will say is coming from a more traditional industry like insurance versus tech, most of those questions coming from like a conservative background are, behavioral questions, tell me about a time, very behavioral, very scripted. Whereas with tech, you got to be able to show who you really are. They're going to ask you all like things that you really cannot prepare for. They may say, "What's your favorite podcast?" They may say, "What's the last book you read?" Or something like that. So I feel like you need to be a person who's constantly working on yourself, who can have a conversation about you and be authentic versus just rehearsed and scripted. They really want to know you. So I think that's why confidence is really important too, is you got to be confident in yourself and what you bring, and that needs to translate into those interviews. So, if you're not reading books, you should probably pick up a book or two, listen to some podcasts, be somebody. I think they really just want to know, are you someone who is excellent, who other people who are excellent want to work with? These are people that you're working with who are, some of them are subject matter experts. These are brilliant minds. They want to know that, are you a person? Can you execute? But, are you real?
Yeah.
You can't be acting like a robot in the interviews. You got to be able to be authentic and, make jokes that are appropriate to, what you're interviewing for, but just be yourself. I think that if anyone would be struggling, I would say do some mock interviews, because tech can throw you for a loop. You'd be like, wait, like I prepared all these situational, I got all these, examples in my head, but it's not like that. It's like having a conversation with a friend. It's like the higher I got in the interview process, the vice presidents, the CEOs, they were like, we just want to have a conversation with you. They had on t-shirts, very lax. So if you have an issue just with social skills and, just having conversations, then I would say do a mock interview, because it's not as scary as it may seem. Even with all the rounds, it was still the same thing, just very open, casual. They want to know about you. They're not really into all of like the scripted fake stuff. They really want to get to who are you? Can we see you being a part of our culture and adding to it? Are you somebody that we can learn from too? So that's what I would say.
Yo, that is fire. Fire. Yeah, bro. AJ says great advice. They're dropping some serious gems. Trey Days says 7 interviews is a war crime. That's funny.
Yeah.
Man, that's hilarious. That's so funny. Someone else, Trey Days also said you deserve compensation at that point. Yeah, they should be paying. They got you doing 7 interviews.
I know.
By interview 5, they should be cutting the check. They should be like, okay, we're
They
gonna cut
should
you
be.
every interview now. That's why.
Yes.
That's
But
like
it was
so
worth it. It was worth it. I got
Hmm.
some good contacts from it.
There you go. Oh, that's good. See, that's the mindset to have. It's like, yo, I still got good connects, good contacts off of that. End up spinning a block
Yeah,
later and having some good opportunities. So
exactly.
Breon Moore asked, how many applications did you submit? Yeah, so how many apps did you fill out or submit between September and March or whenever you stopped applying?
I would say initially I filled out a lot because it was kind of just like random. Like I wasn't just applying to SDR roles. I really didn't want an SDR role. I was trying to just be strategic. Once I realized like what it really was, I was like, I don't really want to do this. But I would say the ones that counted were like between December and like March because I was very intentional about where I applied. I didn't go on like this mass applying spree. I was
Mhm.
very intentional about where like the companies I wanted to work at and the positions. So really not that many, maybe 15 when I was like really taking it serious. But the 3 that I wanted, that I really, really wanted, those are the ones that I got because I was very
Yeah,
intentional about, what I was
that's
trying to do.
fire. That's fire. That's incredible. Incredible.
Yeah.
That's dope. We love that so much. Leon says, great stuff. Must be passionate about what you want to do in order to turn the interview into a conversation. Yeah, that's real. And
Yeah.
to the point that you mentioned, a lot of people don't know. Yeah, the higher up you go, or the further you go in the interview process, that's always a sign that they want you. They're just
Mhm.
hoping. They're just hoping. They're like, okay, we want you. Just continue to prove to us that we are right about you. And of course, it'll be
Mhm.
you versus 4 other people. So they like all the 4 people. But it's almost like going on dates where you know you already like the person, but you're just like, yo, before we make this relationship official, let's go out a couple more times. We already like each other now, but let's just really fill each other out, ask a couple more questions, be chill, see what each other's
Yeah.
personalities like. So it's interesting the way that you explain these. It's just like that. So let's
Yeah.
get to a couple of these other questions. So what we're going to do, y'all, we're going to get to 2 more questions, and we'll get to 2 more questions. And so I guess one we'll ask, we'll acknowledge from Trey Days. So as much as you're comfortable with answering this, if you want to give a range, if that feels more comfortable, he's asking, what is your salary and OTE or on target earnings? So if you want to be specific, or if you want to kind of give a bit of a range, you can do either one of those.
I'll just give a range between 150 to 175. And I don't know if I told you guys my role is a technical
That's
account
cool.
manager.
Ooh, that's heavy. So
Yeah.
range between 150 and 175. That's more. Honestly, depending on how close you are to the top end, which either way, I'm sure it's closer to the top or whatever. I ain't gonna say what it is. That's more than I got after my second tech company. That's big.
Yeah,
That's
I had to leverage all of
big.
those offers.
Yo, we can give it up to God. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That is crazy. And Trey Day's like, woo, yeah, that's crazy. Man, that's lovely. I love that so much. I love that so much. Oh, man, stuff like that gets me hyped. I love seeing people.
Yeah.
I love seeing stuff like this. Oh man, my cheeks about to start hurting. No Diddy. Um, so,
The Diddy jokes are so on point. I'm loving them. I don't know if anybody else is catching them, but I'm catching them. I got you.
I'm curious. This is a sidebar for everybody in the comments. How many of y'all have been saying no Diddy yet? I wonder if any of y'all have been using that no Diddy line.
It applies to so many different things.
It really does. I didn't think I was gonna be ever saying it, but I'm like, yo, it's actually funny to say no Diddy.
It's hilarious.
All right, cool. So we'll get to another question. Trey Day says
Somebody
Terry,
asked
she's a
a
technical account
question
manager.
in the
Yeah, go ahead.
comments. it just said that what did intentionality look like for me in the interview process. And I would just say, being clear on what you want to do. And for me, like I knew I didn't want to be in an SDR role because honestly, what I would be doing and then the money just didn't align with what I was trying to do. I needed more. Um, so I would say just, being clear about what you want. And then I knew I was going to leverage my background. So I was applying to other like tech roles, like, account manager, account executive. I applied to some like sales engineering roles. And I did that on purpose because I wanted to leverage my background. So something that I would say, like for me, I work in insurance, but my background is valuable because the company that I work for, if like if you want to just go within your industry, you could do insure tech, you can do a ed tech company, healthcare tech companies. Like it's so many, different options. So for me,
Mhm.
I wanted to position myself to be an asset. So I applied to like a lot of like insure tech or companies that produced software solutions for insurance companies. So that was
Smart.
kind of my angle.
Yeah.
And so when I did that, I was able to leverage my compensation because of that as well. Just because you don't have experience in that particular role doesn't mean that your industry experience just gets thrown out the window. Like they
Exactly.
value all of that. So that's what I did. And then I also leveraged the offers. So I said, look, I got 2 other offers. So, and they were like, well, what's that offer? What do you want to make? So I leveraged it. I just kept, playing around, playing with them, going back and forth and asking
That's
for a little bit
lovely.
more, asking for way more.
Yo,
Yeah,
that's
that's what
big.
I did. So
That's
I didn't
big.
and I used the boot camp as like I just used it as leverage of
Yeah.
my eagerness or willingness to get inside the tech industry. Because I knew I didn't want to be a SDR. I knew I wanted to do something more. But I didn't find out until after I did the boot camp. So I was like, okay, we got to figure out how to leverage this and make this work. So that's what I
Yeah.
did, even applying to an account manager role. I said, hey, I have this certification, because I wanted to become more well versed within tech. However, I still have this industry experience. And so I want to combine both and add value. And they were sold, So that's why I would say whatever industry, even if you're in trucking, look for tech companies that their niche is trucking. Like there's something for everything. And then you just strategize and utilize that background in those interviews combined with the willingness to learn technology, and it's a wrap.
Yo, that's beautiful. Yo, yeah, y'all are. I see y'all already in the comments cutting up. Yeah, she's saying that's a nugget. She dropping gems. 100% game given. Yeah, it went crazy. Yeah, definitely, y'all. Like completely everything she said. Only thing I will say is literally what she said. Just you go to Google, and if you want to look at trucking tech companies, or if any of the type of whatever industry you're in, ed tech companies, if you want to continue in education, health tech companies, or med tech companies, if you want to continue in the medical or the healthcare space, you can definitely do that and leverage your domain expertise. So that's fire.
Yeah.
That's
Just to get your feet
heavy
in the
gem.
door.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Beautiful. Love that so much. All right, y'all. Look, so we about to go ahead and wrap up. I'm gonna be real with y'all. I'm gonna tell y'all why I gotta jump. I gotta jump right now. We are literally in talks. TechPreneurCon. Literally, I got an email right before this stream started. I almost canceled it because I got an email from the point of contact for the Atlanta Falcons and the Atlanta Hawks, because the point of contact, the Atlanta Falcons and the Atlanta Hawks, are considering sponsoring TechPreneurCon, and it's a huge sponsorship.
Mm.
But also they're considering having some of the Falcons players and Hawks players come to TechPreneurCon as kind of like a little kind of celebrity thing with them being there and other stuff as well. So we're trying to
I'm so
secure this.
jealous.
We're trying to lock them in, and we're trying to have this be an ongoing relationship. So y'all, please be in prayer. Please be in prayer for us because we trying to do some big stuff, y'all. Like for we're trying to help a lot of people, not just get into tech. Trying to get people to scale. We're trying to do some crazy stuff. So please keep us in your prayers. Again, tonight's the last night to get early bird access for TechPreneurCon. So definitely go ahead. You're on Instagram, comment tech event. If you're on LinkedIn and YouTube, don't comment that because there's no automations on there. Just go to the detailed description of this conversation and you'll see the Techpreneur link to click on that so you can go ahead to register for access. Before you get to register for access, it's going to request your email, your phone number, your name, stuff like that first. That's really just so we can make sure that we're able to, as quickly as possible, have a list of the amount of people that are showing interest in being at TechpreneurCon, because that helps us get more tech companies that are hiring to come to TechpreneurCon. It helps us get a longer list of opportunities and things, and really just money from sponsors for cool stuff we're able to do for y'all, not just at TechpreneurCon, but even in the future. So you don't have to worry about Tech is New Black, trying to solicit some crazy mess to y'all. We don't care about stuff like that. We just want to either, one, be able to make sure we're able to remind you about TechpreneurCon, give you updates of cool things happening at the event, tech companies that are going to be there, people that are going to be showing up. But the other piece is, after TechpreneurCon, we want to be able to continue other tech companies that are hiring. We want to be able to give you updates saying, hey, this tech company is hiring. They specifically told us, so use this link to be our referral to be able to apply at this tech company. So that way you could jump to the front of the line when it comes to the application and interviewing process. So again, if you're interested in that, cool. Again, TechpreneurCon, if you're already in tech, if you're executive level, if you are an investor, TechpreneurCon is for you, because again, it's about technology entrepreneurs. So if you are a business owner, or if you're someone who's in tech and you're looking to scale to being a business owner, TechpreneurCon is literally a culmination of all of that. So again, if you're interested, definitely comment tech event to get the early bird access, all that good stuff. Whether or not you come to TechpreneurCon, please keep us in your prayers, because God wants us to do some big stuff. Y'all think Tech is New Black has done big stuff so far. It ain't nothing on top of what we're gonna do. So we excited, we hype. Love y'all. Thank you so much for coming on, sharing your testimony, because you dropped some crazy heat for everybody here. Some crazy heat. Beautiful. Y'all definitely follow her. I'm going to make sure that she's included I'm going to make sure she's tagged on the post so y'all can check her out. If she takes a minute to get back to y'all, give her grace, because it might be a lot of questions, a lot of DMs. I would say probably, if you can, leave your questions in the comment section, so it'll probably be easier for everyone to see her answers to questions, unless it's something very personal and specific. But other than that, look, y'all, I love y'all. Y'all have a lovely night.
Have a good night, guys. Thanks for having me, Cyrus.